Today we're talking about recovery that actually builds muscle, not waste your time or waste your money. Most lifters think of recovery of what can I add in. This could be 2-hour mobility blocks, cold plunges, massage guns, or even the latest gadgets that are supposed to promise faster muscle gain. But that's backwards, because if the goal is hypertrophy, many of these things have a neutral effect, and actually some could even blunt hypertrophy. I'm John Jewett, IFBB Pro, an educator at J3 University. I work with many serious high-level competitors. These are competitors who need results and not wasting time on gimmicks for recovery. In this video, I'm going to show you the recovery habits that actually move the needle for more muscle growth. I'll also show you a few things that you should not put a lot of time into. Let's start with what is not as productive for recovery to improve muscle gain. And the things I'm going to go list below, a lot of them can absolutely have some type of an effect, but is that the effect that you want when your goal is gaining muscle? Because some of these might absolutely decrease pain, decrease soreness, or even just make you generally feel good. And those aren't bad things at all, but you have to be able to differentiate, like, hey, lower soreness and pain doesn't mean you can go back in the gym and have an improvement in training performance. And that's the clear sign of being recovered and what we want to keep stringing together for muscle gain. So these items, I'm not telling you not to do them, but I'm saying some of them might not be that productive if the goal is using them for muscle gain. So the first one up is cold water immersion. Has applications for recovery, however, could actually blunt muscle hypertrophy. This is one, if your goal is muscle gain, I would probably wait to times that you are on a deload, you're not having a training session, and you're implementing it around on rest days. Modalities that cause some type of massage sensation, foam rolling, massage guns, any type of thing where you're having external pressure put on the muscle. A lot of times that can move blood to the muscle, which you usually always have blood moving to your muscle, but these are ones that do just have a decreased perception of pain, but don't actually contribute to recovery and being able to repeat a training performance bout. The one that a lot of people might have some feedback on is deep tissue sports type massages. I find these pretty ineffective for muscle recovery, as some of these are beat up tissue so much they actually hinder recovery. I've had them so bad that you actually have lower performance the next day, and also they're fatiguing. You're having to grit your teeth the entire session. That's not what you should be doing on your rest days to actually recover. You don't want additional stress taking away from your recovery bank. And the ability for someone to push on a muscle and actually change the remodeling process in it for the positive, there's zero evidence around that. Next one is heat type modalities, sauna, hot bath. Absolutely has more of a neutral effect for hypertrophy. You could do it. It could aid removing some soreness and making you feel a little bit more mobile. It's not going to take away from growth like cold bath therapy would, but it's also not having some enhanced robust effect for improving your recovery capacity to now handle more training volume or anything like that. Now, there is a caveat here around what we're talking about for recovery from muscle gain versus recovery from injury. Now, there's crossover, but this is really something to address in a full-on episode. I've had great therapies with tissue therapy that's targeted around such things as like wind back, shockwave therapy, even using dry needling and electrical stim unit. But this is talking more about tissue management for around injuries. But let's transition here of what is really effective and works for recovery and growth. Habit number one I want you to have is sleep like an athlete. Sleep by far is your number one recovery tool. We see it over and over in studies where you have someone, even if they're in a calorie deficit with sleep deprivation, they end up losing more muscle and less body fat. Then if you're in a muscle building phase, you can gain more body fat and gain less muscle. So your priority should be able to get 7.5 to 9 hours of sleep every single night. And the goal is to have that be quality and wake up feeling rested. If you're a big bodybuilder, absolutely get assessed for sleep apnea, as you want that sleep to be high quality. Make sure you have a wind down routine for sleep, 45 to 60 minutes, low light, no screen time, no stressful stuff around you, actually being able to relax. Have a caffeine cutoff of 8 to 10 hours before bed. That means you might need to switch to a non-stim pre-workout. Keep your room dark and cool. 67 to 68 degrees Fahrenheit is a really good sweet spot. And make sure you have noise limited. I personally sleep with earbuds in at night because my dogs might start barking. And one that I see slip a lot of times for people in the off season is sleep time and wake times vary too much. Keep them pretty tight, like within 30 minutes of one another, because if you get them too far off, it can throw off your natural sleeping rhythm and make you feel less recovered. Habit number two is eat to grow. You want to be at the minimum eating maintenance, but a slight surplus is absolutely going to be best. Even during your deloads, I would even keep them at a slight surplus, but like I said, minimum maintenance calories. One of the worst things I see done in the off season is the big cheat meal on the weekend, where that's where you get most of your calorie surplus. Then the rest of the week to make up for it is eating that maintenance or even a slight deficit. This is the setup for poor recovery session to session. I have a whole YouTube video on how much protein you should be eating, but a general number to go with would be something like 1.2 grams per pound of body weight, but the range is 1 to 1.4 grams. I like fat set at 0.3 to 0.5 grams per pound of body weight, then fill in the remainder of those calories to carbohydrates. Make sure you have a good chunk of those prioritized pre and post workout. If your sessions are longer than an hour, absolutely putting some carbohydrate intra workout can make a very good difference. Habit number 3, plan deloads and rest days. You only have so much recovery bank that you can take from. Training steals a lot from that. The best way to recover is to just have some easy training that can occur. You can use all the gimmicks you want to try to recover from a session, but the best thing is just time and rest. It's a complete reset that you can do for connective tissue, removing all that fatigue. You absolutely can come back ready to perform at a higher level. So if joints are achy, loads starting to stall, it's just time to deload. And that deload can vary. It could be 3 days, it could be up to 7 days, but just enough time to get back 100% to moving and progressing loads again. Now, I don't believe that you should take all those days off either. As we see, there is a greater benefit to doing some type of light training, and this should be training that just feels like lighter activity. It should not be trying to overload and progress, make adaptations in these sessions. And the frequency of this, likely you're seeing every 6 to 8 weeks, that something like this shouldn't probably be happening. If you can go longer, that's okay, but if you're going sooner, that's when it can really become a problem. Is that likely you need to make the volume adjustment to your training plan. And the last thing here on this about removing training is rest days. You should have rest days in your program. There's different ways you can spread out volume, but going to the gym every single day is quite a bit of stress that can accumulate. Most people need at least 1 day off from the gym per week, and let that day be of true rest. You don't need to do cardio that day, just completely day off of training. This day is going to go a little bit about our next habit that we're going to talk about around stress management. So with stress management, I look at daily relaxation time to do during the daytime what sleep does for you during the nighttime. So I said sleep was very important. Relaxation time is just as important as well. I've seen people that are so stressed out, I've coached them. And this isn't just stress like someone yelling at you, they just have a lot of stimulation. This could be having multiple jobs, having a relationship that could be stressful. This could be doom scrolling, just looking through social media, watching YouTube videos like John talked to you, watching really exciting movies in the evenings. It's just constant stimulation that keeps you in this sympathetic tone, and that still takes a lot away from your ability to recover and adapt from your training session. So what I would try to put as a goal is 10 to 20 minutes out of the day, ideally twice a day, you have set a time, just a true relaxation moment. No phones. It could be an easy walk outside. It could be sitting outside in nature. Just something where you can completely unplug, have some calm breathing, and relax. The evening rule. Have content that you consume in the evening that lowers down into that parasympathetic state. Watch the rom-com over the latest action horror slaughter movie. Then make sure you have a social wind down time. This isn't time to jump on the phone or just get amped up in conversations. Should be more like low-key conversations and cuddle time with your wife. And that's why it goes back to having rest days around stress management, that you should have 1 day of the week to completely unplug. No work, no training. I know a lot of people now, like if it's a rest day, that's just more time to get it caught up on work. And then you end up having zero downtime, and that just builds up and having less recovery and less training performance, meaning less muscle. And the last one I'm gonna leave you here with stress management is an overpacked life. It's so easy just to keep adding things in and saying yes to things. That's why I suggest making time blocks, and we have a YouTube video on time management and making your bodybuilding life more successful, that you need to protect your time. Just set aside blocks of time where you know you can't commit to those things because other things are taking priority. So the next step here is, if you want a system of making decisions to keep progressing your training, progressing your bodybuilding, and knowing how to recover, exactly what we teach at J3 University in our level 1 course. So I think a lot of times we talk so much about the training piece, we forget a lot about the recovery piece. And if you can't recover from the training doesn't matter. We can do some episodes next time on localized tissue work, or even structuring PDs and peptides around recovery, as I know those weren't covered within this topic. So if there's a question on something like that, leave it down below and I'll know that you want a video on it. Till next time, we'll talk to you then.